Um, I'm so excited to welcome you to our first annual all chapter meeting. My name is Ashina Lee. I am the outgoing co-chair and a reproductive psychiatrist in Long Beach. And the board is so excited to give you a chance to hear about our initiatives, to learn about what we do here at PSI, but to also open up a dialogue where we will have a chance to have a connection between the board members and the chapter members also. So to get started, I want to tell you just a little bit about our mission. So our mission, one second, guys, I can't see. All right. Our mission is to promote equity and inclusion in awareness, prevention and treatment of mental health issues related to pregnancy, childbearing, and parenting in California. And our mission, our vision is that all birthing, adoptive, preconceiving persons and partners have access to information, social support, and informed professional care without judgment to address mental health issues related to childbearing, regardless of race, religion, ability, ethnicity, gender identity, socioeconomic status, and sexual preference. And our values are to be supportive, equitable, and inclusive. And I'm really hoping as we go through this meeting that you can see how our mission relates to all the things that we are working on. And next, I'm going to ask our co-chair, Mary, to speak. She's going to share a little bit about her personal story.
Hi, yeah, on my end, it shows the presentation is loading. Can other people see it?
Maybe stop, maybe restart.
Yeah, I wonder, maybe we can stop sharing and start again so that folks can see it.
Woo,
Hi, I'm Mary Levy. I'm one of the California chapter board's co-chairs. And I realized at about 2:00 this afternoon that I had to tell my story. And I think it's been a really, really long time since I've shared it. The child that I had postpartum issues with is now 24. So when I say it's been a while, I mean it's been a while. So my experience is I'm one of those unusual cases where I didn't have any postpartum difficulties with my first child, and I didn't have it the first 6 months with my second. I developed symptoms when my second child weaned abruptly at 6 months. And it started with feeling dizzy. I started feeling like the room was tilting. And I went to the doctor, and he told me I probably have an inner ear infection, but it might be multiple sclerosis. So that was really great for my anxiety. But over the course of the next few months, my symptoms developed into kind of dizziness, nausea, insomnia. I basically wasn't able to eat or sleep for about 4 months. And I was seeing a therapist at the time, and she did not recognize it as psychological. My doctor kept on having theories about what might be wrong with me, but all the tests came back negative. And after 4 months of being unable to eat, sleep, or care for my children, I ended up in the psych ward because I was ready. I did not want to live at that point. And it wasn't honestly until after 12 days of being hospitalized and 6 weeks in an intensive outpatient program, I began to recover, and only then heard the term postpartum anxiety. And at no point in any of that process did anybody recognize that I was a postpartum mom, that dizziness and nausea are typical symptoms of panic and anxiety. So after recovering, I really, my passion for helping other parents kind of came out of that. And I ended up becoming a therapist after my early career in public policy. But I feel really strongly, having been through that and having had so much difficulty getting diagnosed and treated, that I don't want any other parents to struggle to get help, to have their symptoms recognized, to be treated. So that's why I'm here. And Lizette, another member of our board, wanted to share her story with you as well.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for coming to meet us. So my name's Lisette. I'm in Northern California near the Bay Area. And I am 3 years postpartum. And so my story just briefly includes the pandemic, of course, that was like the whole backdrop of my experience. The shutdown, finding out I was pregnant and going through the postpartum experience in isolation. And my kind of like full circle moment is I suffered for 6 months in silence. I was trying to just go through the motions and not really recognize my symptoms. And then that eventually led me to a breakdown to where I had to get treatment. But because of the pandemic, there was a whole wait list with therapists. And I'm sure, you all can, a lot of you can attest to that during the pandemic about wait list and, waiting to see a therapist in a timely manner. And so I found PSI, and then I started joining groups, the support groups, the online support groups, started as a volunteer. So I actually helped launch the Latinx support group that PSI runs. And then I am now actually a staff member with PSI too, in the support groups team. So I help do all of that. And then also serving as a volunteer for the California board in peer support. So that's kind of like my full circle moment of how my adjustment to motherhood was very stressful because of the pandemic, but also my passion and my commitment to kind of how it's changed my trajectory of my life, because I didn't have like mental health experience or didn't work with moms. That wasn't my professional background. And so it's kind of like full circles changed how I want to help other mothers to prevent what I went through, the wait list and all that. I think some people are off of mute. But yeah, so that's kind of my story and my full circle moment.
Thank you so much, the both of you, for sharing your story. I'm always moved when I hear both of the stories. So I appreciate you sharing them. And now we're going to move into our committees. Our committees are going to talk to you about the things they've accomplished and their current goals. And we're going to start with our training committee.
Hi, everyone. I'm Alicia Middleman. I'm located in West Sacramento. I am one of 3 co-chairs of the training committee. We also have Carol, who is our incoming co-chair for the board, and Rupa Zimmerman as well.
Zoom meeting.
And just wanted to give you an overview of what we're doing. We're a brand new committee. And so our goals this year are to organize and plan 2-day frontline provider trainings in underserved areas of the state. We'd like to collaborate with hospitals and professional organizations to offer many perinatal mental health trainings. We would like to provide emergency services perinatal mental health 101 trainings to non-mental health professionals such as firefighters, police, EMTs. And we're hoping to do this through pre-recorded videos. And we are going to create perinatal mental health training videos to distribute to organizations that request it. We're also looking for volunteers. We occasionally get requests from around the state for brief 2 to 3 hour trainings. And so we're looking for volunteers who have a specialty in treating this population that might be willing to volunteer to provide these trainings either virtually or in person. And then we are also looking for volunteers to attend conferences to just provide outreach on what PSI California does, and that we are available to help with training professionals. And then other ways to get involved, we do have a monthly online committee meeting, typically the first Thursday of the month at 9 a.m. And if you're interested, please reach out to me at secretary@psichapter.com. Thanks.
Great, thank you so much. So we did have a request. If you're comfortable, if you can share your profession.
Is that me? Okay. I'm an LCSW and I'm in private practice.
Thank you. All right, and now we're going to hear from our Climb Out of Darkness committee.
Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm a former teacher. Now I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I work for Postpartum Support International as the West Coast coordinator, regional coordinator for the Climb. And I also volunteer on the board as the Climb Committee chair. And I also run a support group for PSI. So here in California, this last year, we had 5 climbs. We had East Bay, Central Valley, which is me, and I'm running a blank now, Long Beach, San Diego, and Santa Cruz. And those were our successful climbs. We raised a little over $12,000, which 50% comes back to our chapter. So as a committee here, we have a couple goals. We would like to grow the climb community in California to 8 locations. We have had multiple years of 8 locations being registered, but then we don't actually have 8 locations with the event. So we'd like to actually have 8 events this year here in 2024. We would like to grow our fundraising opportunities to $15,000 annually, which again, 50% of that comes straight to our chapter. And we'd also, as a climb committee, we're here to support climb leaders by liaising with the board members and providing financial support. And right now, one of our main goals is creating and sharing videos and info related to the climb. So you may have seen a video that PSI California put out today that was showcasing Central Valley, which was my climb this last year, with my blurb on it. You can watch the social media pages for PSI California to see more videos and pictures of the climbs here in California. Here on your screen, the bottom left is San Diego. No, just kidding. That one's Long Beach, I think. We're going to go with Long Beach. The middle one is East Bay, and then the far right is Central Valley, which we're located in Modesto. So we do have a lot of really big and really good climbs that are happening. How you can help, you can join the committee, the climb committee. We have quarterly meetings. Our next one is in April. You can become a climb leader. So you can go ahead and volunteer for your area. If you don't already have a climb in your area, you can be the climb leader for your area. You can also join a climb team that's already happening, that you've already heard, that I've shared. And we are starting those signups, that the volunteer applications actually this coming week. You can also join a climb team and just attend as an attendee. If you'd like more information, my email is on there at bwelch@psicachapter.com. I also again work for the climb, so I would be not only your liaison for the board, but also your liaison for connecting to Climb Central. So go ahead and reach out to me here, and I can definitely help you get started.
Thank you, Brittany. All right, next we're going to hear from our volunteer committee.
I was going to speak for Carly because Carly has a cold, so I offered to do this section for her. So the Volunteer Engagement Committee, we are actually recruiting a chair for that committee. So there will be a form that we will provide a link to later, and also at the very end
chicken and a
this
tacos.
Oh, folks, can you
Chicken.
Mute yourselves? There'll be a form later in the presentation that you can use if you want to let us know that you want to participate in any of these committees or potentially chair a committee. So the volunteer coordinator makes warm contact with people who express an interest in volunteering. They maintain records of current volunteers doing work on behalf of PSI California, including a signed volunteer agreement, committee interests, headshots, and they liaise with committee chairs to track the volunteer needs of the various committees, and they report activities at every board of directors meeting, which we meet bi-monthly, and update the goals of the committee periodically. So if you want to get involved, there will be, again, a link to a form later in the presentation. Oh, and the scholarship committee, which Carly has also been chairing. The scholarship committee gets together 4 times a year, up to 4 times a year, to review scholarship applications for training. And the goal of the committee is to allocate scholarships to underserved populations so that they're better served in the future. So the chair of the committee, which we're recruiting right now, helps to recruit committee members, and they promote PSI scholarships, and they help to determine what underserved communities should be better represented, and helps to adapt our scholarship applications so that we can better determine which applicants are most needing that training to serve underserved communities. And they help plan future scholarship opportunities and update applicant scoring matrix to continue to advance the needs of underserved communities. Thanks.
Good
And
afternoon.
Carol, there you go.
Thank you, Mary. My name is Carol Mackay, and I'm the current chair of the Underserved and Special Populations Committee, and the incoming co-chair who's going to be filling Ashina's very big shoes. So our committee is to work collaboratively with all of the committees of the board to identify and connect with underserved and special populations throughout California. And then we would look at assessing the specific needs of those populations, and especially in high risk and underserved communities. We also will assist with the development and training on perinatal mental health issues with often overlooked communities. So some communities I've been speaking with recently are the deaf and hard of hearing community, pregnant and parenting youth in foster care, and immigrant and refugee families. My goal going forward is to create a committee with very diverse volunteers from different backgrounds in different geographical areas of California, so that we have people that can look at the specific needs of their local communities and help address those needs in their areas. So if you'd like to join my committee, or you have any other information you'd like to share around a group that you think could use some more of our support, please contact me at the below email. Thank you. And going on to Elise.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elise Springer. Hopefully you can see me and hear me okay. I also would love chicken and tacos for dinner. That sounded delicious. I just want to add, that sounded amazing. So the Policy and Advocacy Committee is basically exactly what it sounds like. Our work is to do a lot of the legislative work in Los Angeles and beyond. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little frustrated. Confused here. I got so derailed by my chicken and tacos statement that I forgot to introduce myself. I'm a marriage and family therapist from Los Angeles. That's what I was trying to say. And like many of you, at the end of a long clinical day as a therapist, my brain does not work as well as I would like it to. So we are really hoping to take a lot of the organizations that are already doing so much of this work in their counties, and I saw quite a few of the folks I'm already familiar with on the names list here. And you know, California has been really lucky to have some very strong perinatal mental health organizations that have paved the way for some of the legislation that they're doing in the rest of the country. But there is still more that we can do, particularly around getting licensing boards to require perinatal mental health training, to having some psychosis legislation on board. And you know, I think for the committee here for policy and advocacy, we're hoping that it's not just you sharing what you're doing in your county, but maybe if there's something you'd like to do in your county, there's another county that has already done it, and we can support and help you do that. So we meet monthly. The next meeting is 2/26. We do meet in the evening at 7 p.m. I know that that's late, and frequently people have families that they're navigating at that time. So of course you are always welcome to join by phone, but many of our members are clinicians navigating busy days. So it's a hard time to do it during the weekday. So again, if you really want to work, please join the Policy and Advocacy Committee, both for your county and then at a statewide. And next up, I think, is Jen to be talking about the financials. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, here I am. I'm in my car, so I pressed the wrong button. Anyways, I am Jen Cordeau. I'm the treasurer, and I currently also work for PSI doing financial coordination between chapters and between PSI Central. And I also am a party planner. I've been in my past life a project manager and a budget aficionado, which is what led me to this position. So, and also I had experience with postpartum depression myself with my daughter, who's now 13. And that kind of led me through multiple different avenues and a local group here in San Diego, and then now PSI. I'm super excited to be here and talk to you about everyone's favorite topic, fundraising. We are in the process of, well, we will be starting to develop a long-range funding plan. So I am asking for volunteers. So we will be working on that within this next year and begin to come up with a system of tracking and measuring the effectiveness of that funding plan and adjusting it as necessary so that we can make sure that we are funding all of the different programs that all of our lovely, amazing chairs want to do through PSI. So basically that was it. If you are interested in finance or having fun, then you can contact me at jcordeau@psicaliforniachapter.com, and we can work on some of that funding stuff together. I think peer support is next. Is that correct? I don't remember. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, Jen.
Sorry, Lizette.
All right, yeah. So for the peer support committee, so I just wanted to kind of, really go back to what Brittany shared about the climb and all the funds that have come in. And I just want you all, like, if you can't tell yet, this board is pumped and ready to do things for the parents in California. And so one of those really big goals that I have and really ambitious about peer support, increasing peer support in California. And I really want to tap into the workforce by utilizing perinatal Medi-Cal peer support specialists, so PSS. And so that's really what one of my big goals is for this committee. And I'm looking for volunteers. We haven't started our meetings yet because I was still trying to get our committee description and just kind of figuring out like that sort of, behind the scenes things first. As far as I know, I don't think there are any other like state chapters within PSI that have a peer support committee that has like really big goals and dreams like I do. So I hope it excites you, but I'm really looking forward to being able to increase peer support in California. I think as I shared my story, being 3 years postpartum and just kind of really seeing the lack of that peer support being used and how vital it was in my recovery. And that's one of the things that I always share. And you might even see like certain articles I've done or interviews I've done with other major news outlets about my story, because I really want to get it out there and how vital peer support again was to my recovery. And so there's a lot that I'm working on. I don't want to bore you and read you what's on here so you can read it yourself. But just if you are excited about peer support and you want to get involved, please contact me. My email's there. And, I definitely want to help, especially for those moms that maybe became stay-at-home moms, right? Or maybe they can't go back to their work full time, which is kind of sort of what happened with me, is increasing the workforce for them by providing training for becoming a peer support specialist. And that's something that I've done. I've taken a free training. There are organizations out there that offer this free training. And so I'm just really excited and pumped to add peer support in our community in California, because I do know based off of the information that the Policy Center, which was prior 2020 mom, that there are some areas in California that really are underserved and could really utilize peer support, or could really use peer support. And so I am just very pumped and excited about that. And I also want to, shout out Jane Honigman, the work that you did starting PSI. That has really, fueled my passion. And so there's so many of us on this board that are just so passionate about the work. And so I will stop rambling about it. But yeah, if you're interested, please reach out and I will go ahead and pass it off to Sharon.
Hello, I'm Sharon Harkey, and I am a certified nurse midwife, and I have been the frontline provider chair since we started the board in 2020. I am outgoing now, and up to this point, we have been concentrating more on professional associations and trying to get into the training portion there. But now we'd like to get a committee started. So I am looking to recruit more frontline provider people like obstetricians, nurse practitioners, midwives, physician's assistants, and nurses, and anybody who might be the first person to identify a patient with PMADS, so we can make the frontline providers feel more comfortable with hopefully more training, spreading the word that PSI, what they could do in training all of the frontline providers, and make especially the ones that are prescribers, get more trained and comfortable with assessing and treating PMADs with medications, and getting them to the care of all of our wonderful therapists out there. So you can see the committee goals on the screen there. And if anybody would be interested, since I'm outgoing, if you could contact Mary Levy, and hopefully we will get another frontline provider leader to take over this committee. And I appreciate you listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. And I think yes, perfect. I'm the next one. Hi, everyone. I'm Shimal. I'm a neuroscientist, and I used to be an academic researcher, turned into this field after experiencing my own perinatal mental health challenges, like many of you do. And I'm a co-founder of a relatively early stage health technology startup in this space. And I'm also a relatively new addition to the board. And I have been chairing needs assessments grants committee since this summer. And basically the goals of our committee is to identify existing resources and also to assess the gaps in terms of providing inclusive and equitable resources to all California parents, and particularly parents who have been historically marginalized, discriminated against, and or experiencing even more higher stress conditions. And we are lucky in the sense that our committee was founded in 2021 because our wonderful previous committee members had successfully applied for and get a grant from PSI Central to run our studies. So currently we are completing on the work they have started. We have been looking into analysis of the survey that maybe some of you have participated in. And our goal is to build on that preliminary work, which so far gained representation over 23 counties, and expand on our learnings. Our goal is to start mostly qualitative studies in the second half of the year, because we really want to do this work with you and in collaboration with the communities that we are most interested in understanding and identifying the gaps for. So please engage with us. We do mostly asynchronous work. I'm not going to lie, our committee has quite hands-on work committee, but we would appreciate any type of help. We meet monthly and sometimes more if need be. And you can also refer your colleagues, or if you have trainees that might be interested in this line of work. And we might also have a small amount of funding that might be available for them. And also, apart from, volunteering our committee, we are always happy to talk with you, listen to you. If you observe particular needs across counties, we are particularly interested in some of the counties such as Fresno and Kern. So please let us know. We are always happy to have you and engage with you. And I think the next is maybe Mary or Ashina in terms of getting involved.
I'm actually going to call Genesis with social media.
And I think, Ashina, I was going to speak on behalf of Genesis and myself, and we're going to lump communications and social media together. Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie. I am a perinatal acupuncturist, a postpartum doula here in the Bay Area, a mom of 3 young ones, and started my journey with PSI as a help coordinator, connecting help seekers to local support therapists and the like in our area. And so I really became enamored with PSI, and I'm excited to be the chair of the communications committee starting last year. And so Genesis, as the chair of the social media committee, the 2 of us work hand in hand in crafting the sort of external expression of all this incredible work that you've heard from our committees, such that we can bubble up all of the ways that you can get involved, that you can follow along on what's happening in the field, participate, volunteer, and really join in on this critical work. We excitedly launched a newsletter, which hopefully you have seen. And if you have not, please check your spam box because some are finding themselves there. But we'll send out a bi-monthly newsletter. So the first of every other month. Our next one will be April 1st. And in that newsletter, I hope that it is just kind of your one-stop shop destination of where to go to find out what work is happening, how you can get involved, links to forthcoming meetings, recruitment efforts, fundraising efforts, and all of the above. So we right now send it to about 1,500 people in our database. And so if you're inclined, please also feel free to forward that to your network of people who might also be interested in the work that PSI California is doing and helping spread our mission. And then the other exciting feature that many of you have seen, and we've been blown away at how active the community has been, is on the California listserv. Now a forum for all of you, our California chapter members, to collaborate and connect with one another. I know you had a meetup over Zoom on Friday that was well attended and really positive in terms of involvement from the community. And we will continue to iterate and evolve what sort of, if we have standing meetings of that kind, and if PSI is hosting much like this one, or if it's really generated by all of you. But by all means, utilize that listserv. It's a really wonderful way to connect across the state with field related or any other matters that are related to your work. And in terms of social media, again, on behalf of Genesis, who is the chair of the committee, really the work there is to spread the message far and wide across our social channels, to, again, help with recruitment efforts, acknowledge all of the populations that PSI really serves, and honor this incredible work and recruit and many, many other sort of initiatives that fall within our work. So if you are interested in getting involved, the communications committee has a once quarterly meeting, and there are always ways that we can help weave you in. If you have a background in communications or just a particular interest, there's a lot that we intend to do around getting more involved in sort of the PR element of our work. Right now, we're focused on just really social media and getting our chapter members communicating. So you can reach us at communications@psicaliforniachapter.com. And I'll put it also in the chat. So thanks everyone for joining, and great to have you here.
Great, thank you so much, everybody. We're going to call Carol back up. She's our incoming co-chair, and she's going to tell you about all the ways you can get involved, how we can help, and how you can help us.
Thanks, Ashina. So I just wanted to apologize because I forgot to introduce myself a little better the first time. So I'm actually in the Los Angeles County area, and my background is developmental psychology. And I used to run the postpartum program for all of Calgary, Alberta, Canada for many, many years. So that's my background, and I've been involved with PSI since 2005 in one form or another. So many ways that you can get involved with us. You can tell friends, you can tell your pediatrician, your OBGYN. As Jackie said, you can pass information on to your colleagues and other friends through connecting with our different social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You can forward our newsletter. You can volunteer for our chapter or join our board, as we've talked about. Especially you can donate to PSI. Host a fundraiser, or another way is you can consider looking at your employer match for donations and adding PSI California to that. You can join a climb, lead a climb, or sponsor a climb, as Brittany said. We'd be happy to be invited to any of your events, conferences, or your local community groups to speak or to just host a table and have our information available. You can also please let us know about the resources in your community so we can add them to our database and also look to see how we can support them. And big thing for us, I think, is also for you as providers out there, consider accepting insurance, Medi-Cal, or sliding scale clients so we can help raise the amount of providers that are available to lower income people. Next slide, please. Now, this is how PSI can help parents. There are over 30 online support groups, and many of them meet each week. There's some for BIPOC people, LGBTQIA+, and dads, etc. There's PSI peer mentor programs, and this is one-on-one support from those with lived experience. There's a PSI provider directory, so they can help parents get qualified professional help in their area, often PMH certified therapists. There's the different hotlines. There's a PSI helpline, and then there's a National Maternal Mental Health Hotline, which has been launched through PSI as well. And just so you know that this number is going to be the only number available starting in May. The previous number will be shut off starting in May. So right now, 2 numbers are available through this maternal mental health hotline. You can connect with a PSI support volunteer to be able to help find resources in your particular area. There's chat with an expert. There's closed Facebook groups and the PPD forum. And PSI and PSI California is very active in helping to advocate for parents at both the state and the federal level through different initiatives. Always check PSI to see what those are. And increasing awareness of perinatal mental health through our social media and other awareness campaigns. The provider director, I believe, is through PSI Central. Now, PSI can help professionals by providing scholarships for training in California, and that's something that the scholarship committee discussed, that you can apply to for a scholarship through our chapter. They organize perinatal mental health trainings in your area, the 2-day conferences. They also do stuff for specifically in hospitals, clinics, and you can talk to us if there's something that you would like us to come and do specifically for an organization that you're involved with. There's the PSI Perinatal Psychiatric Consult line. This is specifically for prescribers, and they can help discuss treatment options and drugs that are available, and if you have questions about that. If you're not a full PSI member yet, please become one. You have lots of benefits through that. There's the PSI peer consultation groups for therapists and prescribers, and I hear that doulas are coming soon. Yay for that. There's discounts on training and the PSI conference, and also in discounts to other partner organizations that PSI Central has partnered with. There's the care providers, ReproPsych, and chapter email groups, the listservs. And I know Jackie talked about our listserv that many of you are connecting with. And so this is the larger listserv through PSI Central. And also there's the Perinatal Mental Health Alliance for people of color. So if you are a member of PSI Central, you have free membership to this subgroup of PSI if you are a BIPOC member. So please check that out. You'll be able to attend meetings and get support and other information through this wonderful group. And then please download free PSI fact sheets and infographics that you can use throughout your community or your business, and it's all free to use.
All right, thank you. So here's some of the contact information, but we will be sending this PowerPoint out. And also I want everyone to scan in this QR code if you're interested in helping us or getting involved in the work, or if you even have a question, go ahead and start filling that out. Now we're going to open the floor for questions. I think we can just start with you unmuting and see how that goes. And also feel free to put the questions inside of the chat box, because even if we can't get to your question today, we might be able to send you an email if it's connected to your name.
Could you put in the chat the social media channels for this chapter, like your Instagram handle, etc.?
Yes, that's not a problem.
Yeah, that's a wonderful idea.
If we've had a chance to scan this code, is it possible to take down the PowerPoint so we can see each other?
Sure, I can take that down.
And I just see Loretta's question in the chat about peer support committee. My hope is to meet once a month, depending on the people who are interested in becoming involved with that committee. I'm going to take a poll and figure out what's the best time for all of us to meet before I just set a meeting. Because again, I'm recruiting volunteers. I don't have anyone interested so far. And so I would just love, if you are interested, please send me an email. It'll be once a month that we meet, or once every other month, depending on what we're doing.
Hi, this is Jen Varela, and I'm so excited about all the work you guys are doing. It's really, really lovely to hear, and thank you for putting this together so that we can kind of hear what's going on and what's happening and where we might be able to plug in. And so just personally, I'm really excited about what you guys are doing, and I'm bummed I missed the newsletter, so I'm going to go back and check my junk spam. Do you guys remember if it was at the beginning of January, end of January, just to make it a little easier maybe to find? And
The most
I really
recent,
oh, go ahead.
the most
Yeah,
recent one was February 1st.
Fantastic. That'll make it
Yep.
easy to find. Okay.
And
And
just so you know, the one before that was November 1st. So we'll send it on the 1st of every other month to keep it easy for you. And feel free, I can put my email in here and I'll make sure to manually add you if for whatever reason it's just not finding your inbox. So I'll share that in the chat now.
fantastic. Thank you. And really, this is such a lovely time to get to catch up with what's happening with the chapter, or chapter of California. So great job. Thank you.
Yes.
So, hi,
Jane,
everybody.
did you have a question for us?
Well, first I'm going to praise you and thank you and honor you for all the work that you've put into this. Come so far. And I know I sound like an old lady, but it's true that it's taken this next generation and you are it. And I know there'll be success down the road. It's been a long haul. My question is actually one to be provocative. Two, I'm disappointed still that I don't see 50% men on the board and 50% men in the conferences and 50% men in the committee, you know what I'm saying. And this is my big shtick. I would love to volunteer on all your committees and do anything I can to keep the morale up. I'm available in California, and I really want California to be the best it can be because everything started here in California. I love to travel. I love to get around. I love to do inspirational talks. I'd love to have people come to Santa Barbara and meet here. In the old days before computers, that's what we used to do. And that's why the chapter never took off in California because it's such a dang big state. So yay for Zooming and yay for all of the social media that happens. But my provocative question is, when are we going to start talking about prevention? And I'll just leave it at that because I have a lot of ideas, but maybe we could have a brainstorming session on that topic and I'll give you my.
Jane, I'm going to take a swing at least giving you some kind of answer, perhaps not
Okay.
the most satisfactory answer, but one of the reasons why the chapter and the committee, the policy and advocacy committee this year is trying to target some of the licensing boards is because all therapists who are at the master's level are actually not taught any perinatal mental health, right? They're taught they need to have sex and sexuality in order to get a license and graduate, or graduate and get a license in that order. They need to hear about HIV and AIDS, aging, child development, but absolutely nothing is required on perinatal mental health, which is kind of like mind-blowing when you think about it. And in order for the schools to start to teach to this, in order to have better funding for prevention, we have to get them to acknowledge that it is actually a thing, right? And so part of the way to do that is to get the licensing boards to say, hey, you know what? This is a thing, and in order to get licensed, you need to have this training. It's an upstream approach to a very complicated issue. And much like some of these other systems, like, for example, HIV, the Department of Public Health in California was able to get that training to be mandated. And then once they had that training, they were able to then allocate more funding, or it was easier to make a funding for prevention, right? So, I mean, right now we're still so backwards, as you know. I mean, we're trying to do some work too with psychosis. We're far behind England, let's say, who kind of with all their infanticide laws really assume that there's perinatal mental health concerns in that first year postpartum. But at the very least, this is going to be the two things that this particular year we're trying to advocate for. It's a bigger, larger problem, but at least know that we are thinking about it and we are talking about it.
Oh, I acknowledge you. I really do. I love you. I would love to also speak with the committee that's peer support specific. And if we can have a chat with me about that group and prevention, which is another idea I have. So, you know, you have my email, give me a shout out. And oh, Carol, is it Carol McKay? Hi, I've just been in touch with a man in Calgary, Canada, who's very eager to get things going there as a man from Africa who immigrated, and his story is beyond beliefly in terms of intensity, inspiration. So I just, when you said Calgary, I thought, oh, okay, I know. I've met a new person, and now I meet you. So it'd be fun to connect you as well.
That's wonderful, Jane. And actually, Mary and I were just chatting a little while ago about getting some more men on the board, hopefully. So that's part of my, as underserved, that's part of my goal is to reach out.
And
Good,
if you
well, let's
meet
talk.
yep, if you know some men who would be great additions, send them our way.
Well, I think that to me is like, how many of you have children and how many of those children have fathers? There you are. That's the population.
Well, we tried to get Danny Singley on here, and he
Oh,
was
yeah.
none of it.
No,
So if
no,
you
no,
want to
no,
put
you're
in a
asking the wrong, you're asking the wrong person there, because I know how busy he is. But at least I got him to write the book. And I'll be seeing him at the end of March. I'm coming to San Diego. That's another area of underserved is the grief community, and I'll be at the Symposium for Reproductive Grief on March 22nd. So I'll give Danny a pep talk. He doesn't need it, you know, he's just so busy. Well, hi to everybody. I can't tell you how exciting this is, and for me, and I'll just ramble too much, so I'm going to go on mute so you don't have to listen to me anymore.
I just noted someone commented about that their husband had postpartum depression, and I think that's a very underserved population. And I was part of a study in Calgary that looked at that. And so I hope that we can help address some of those areas as well.
That's excellent. It's exactly what this man in Calgary was talking about. Not only that, but he was denied shared custody with his son. And he had to go through the court system for years and years. So he has a very poignant story. And there are so many more. Over the years that I've been doing this, I can tell you the sadness that the men express and how we as women don't hear their voices. They just don't, and we should. And that's my passion. And I think they're the key to prevention. So that's the other piece of this.
I'm going to add one more piece. So one of the organizations in California, Love Dad, did get a grant from PSI Central to do some home visiting work. And so a lot of in California, Love Dad has been sort of piloting some of these home health visitation, trying it and education. But, you know, again, it's a small segment. It's like all these things, we got to start with these small little areas and pilots with the desire to grow larger. But at least we know PSI Central has been trying to be supportive, and we are lucky enough in California that one of the organizations are doing the work here.
Right, and just to give you back to Calgary, the gentleman who's doing the work there has started something called the Super Daddy Club. He does podcasts, and that's how he reached out to me, because he's going to interview me. But there's the other population that we're not reaching again, and I hope my proposal to speak at PSI conference is accepted, because I want to talk about grandparents. And if they don't want to hear me, maybe California does.
I'm wondering, thank you so much, Jane. I'm wondering if I saw a hand from Carla. My screen also switched, so I wasn't sure.
I think she was just saying bye because I saw her comment in the chat. I will say this about men and get you even more excited to join the peer support committee. We have a man on our peer support committee. That's my husband, but still, it is something that's very, very near and dear to our heart, and providing his perspective as a male who also went through postpartum anxiety with our child. And so he couldn't be here because he had a meeting. But just to throw that out there, if you're interested, we have a man on the committee.
All right, do we have any other questions? I know the chat, we're getting a lot of them through the chat. If anybody wants to speak up, that's okay too.
I did put it in the chat, but I'll mention it. Also, my background is in early childhood education and as a newborn care specialist. And so I have a lot of opportunities as a frontline person supporting postpartum families and being able to direct them to resources for qualified mental health support when that seems indicated. But also one of my specializations was infant and toddler mental health. And even in a really exceptional progressive training program, teacher training program, the perinatal mental health content was not what it should have been, what it could have been. And so I'm thinking that there could be a role for PSI to reach out into a new set of workers, early interventionists, home visitors, people who are in the world of education, but who are specifically focused on infant and toddler mental health, because we know that infant mental health is the parent mental health. As the parent's not mentally healthy, the infant or toddler is not going to be mentally healthy. They don't have, what they need to give. So I'm just going to suggest that as another venue to reach out to people who can be frontline and where there's definitely a need for PSI quality information.
Thank you so much for sharing that information. Do we have any other questions, comments, or thoughts?
I have a quick question. Is it possible to find out who's in our local areas, like by county, so that we can collaborate and, cross-refer and stuff like that with each other?
short answer to that is not effectively currently. However, I would encourage you to come to the policy and advocacy meeting. Next one is Monday, February 26th at 7 p.m. Or if you want to email me at the moment, I can try to link you. Our goal is to hopefully get different providers from different counties to be able to report out, hey, here's what we're doing in our county, so that we can start to include it. And also I will just make another push for the communications, because I think if there's, if you're seeking maybe a connection, that may be a way to do that through the chat board that they've created.
And I'm
Rebecca, I was wondering, are you looking for like board members in your community or other perinatal providers in your community?
I just want to know who's around us locally so that we know we can connect with each other and, invite people to events and just like, cross collaborate, just get to know each other really. And now that we're not stuck at home all the time, it'd be nice.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, are you in the listserv yet? The California chapter listserv?
Hopefully, I thought that I was, but I went back to the newsletter and redid it, and it says it's waiting for approval. So eventually,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, because that could also be a really useful way to connect, just posting in there, like looking for people in this county or this geographic area to connect. I'm hoping that people will start some local consultation groups through that if they can find people in their communities.
Right. Thank you.
And I wanted to share what Genesis said in the comments here. If you have a story or a personal story that you want to share, we're looking for stories. We think stories are very powerful. You can fill out that form that she put inside of the chat. We would love to hear a little bit about your story.
Is it okay to promote my story and encourage everyone to read my book, which is the history of PSI and my memoir, and it's called Postpartum is Forever. And
yes,
it would be such an honor to have all of you give me your feedback, because I think once we're all on the same page and everybody understands where PSI originated and came from, I think it would be even more gratifying. And yeah, I'm ready to start a book club and then everybody read my book first. Not that I'm self-promoting anything. Nah, not that.
Just as you said that, Jane, Genesis put in the chat, book club anyone? Like literally simultaneously. Oh, one thing I wanted to also let folks know, so that form that we have that link to is also asking people to let us know about resources that you know about in your community that we might not already know about. So I wonder if when we close, we can like put that page up in the so that folks can scan it again if they haven't already. So that would be if you want to volunteer for a committee, if you want to volunteer potentially for our board, or if you have resources in your communities that you want other people to know about that we might not be aware of.
Of course, I can put that up. And I think this is a great place for us to end. I will be sending out the PowerPoint, even the link for the stories, and I will put up the QR code one more time for everyone.
Thank you all for coming. So wonderful to see all of your faces.
As people are signing off, can I just share that on the main PSI website, when you go to click on like state chapter, it says currently recruiting for Alaska, Connecticut, Indiana, like some various other states. And so I'm in California and have just always assumed like California didn't need help, like they had what they needed. And I'm friends with Alicia Middleman, and she was like, oh my gosh, no, please come to this meeting. And so it kind of takes you on this like infinite loop. When you click like on the California chapter to volunteer, it takes you back to that page on PSI Central. And so to me as like an outside person, it wasn't clear how to like get involved other than, and like I didn't know that like signing up like to get news from the chapter was like a clear way to like get access or right, like get information. So I don't do know that I've been like lost in a loop. I'm happy to be here and I will be reaching out about a couple of your committees. I'm in Sacramento. I'm in private practice as well, but it was I got caught in this infinite loop and didn't know how to get in. So I just wanted to provide you with that.
Yeah, we need to correct that. That's not what we want people who want to volunteer for our chapter to end up in, for sure.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks for sharing that.
My book is on Amazon, of course. Just Google Postpartum is Forever or my name and it'll pop up.
I'm so glad you came, Jane.
Oh, I'm so honored and just thrilled. I can't tell you how excited I am. I hope I can sleep tonight. I'm so excited.
Jane, I don't know if you remember, honey.
Look what you started. Look what you started.
Amazing. It's amazing. I love you all. Thank you so much for all your work. Leaving a legacy is beyond belief. Period. Thank you. Time for dinner, everybody. Let's go eat.
Bye, Jane. Bye, everyone. I hope you all had a chance to get the code. Bye.